popping up. Let me just check, make sure all the audio is going good. Everything is good. Look, got Tony Jarvis here today. Tony has got a million pictures, folks. A million pictures of all this crazy stuff. Hercules, the Herc video we did, just blew up. Everyone is loving that Herc video. So Tony's coming in. He's also got some surprise plane saving stuff. And then some vintage Yellowknife and even some hidden Buffalo Airways people, which is pretty cool. So I just spent the last about half an hour with Tony here going through his pictures, which are very good. I just want to make sure all the audio is working. Everybody's getting in good. Hello, Kentucky. Randy. Hello, hello. Elvis King, Newfoundland. Hit the like button. Oh, hello from Nottingham, England. Nottingham Forest, wasn't that? Yeah, Nottingham Forest, Robin Hood. Okay, Elvis. If Elvis says the audio's good, that means the audio is definitely good. Hello from England. So there we go. So Tony, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
So Tony, you're plane saving, you're flying, you're fixing, you're pretty much everything, right?
Pretty much.
Jeez. And history going back, looking through these pictures. When did you start flying in the north?
In the north?
Yeah.
Probably about 1977.
1977, eh? Back, Montreal Canadiens won the cup back, I think, that year.
Well, you got a good memory for that. I can't remember. I was in the bush.
So Tony, just right off the bat here, look at this. Boom, flying DC-3s.
Yeah, a young and skinny me.
So those DC-3s, that was like WZS was one of them?
That might be WZS. I'm just taking a look at the scoop on the top there. They all had their own. Oh, no, that's NWS because it's got the intensifier scoops on the cowlings. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and that's in Cambridge Bay.
Cambridge Bay, eh? So what year would that have been?
1987.
1987.
Yeah.
Oilers won the cup in 87.
No comment.
No comment. There you go. Stella, do you want to wave to everybody? Stella, you got your Smurf hands on?
Hello.
What are you doing with your Smurf hands?
Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf?
Yeah.
Smurfette, most likely.
Smurfettio.
So before we get into Tony stuff and all this stuff, because there's a lot. So hopefully you guys got a lot of questions, especially to do with Lockheed, Electra. Well, basically, it's Lockheed Day.
Lockheed Day. There you go.
Electras, Hercs, and Venturas.
There you got it.
So I've been very hard for me to remember that Ventura. So if you guys don't know what a Ventura is, hurry, get to Wikipedia, become an expert, because everyone on the internet's an expert. So get to the internet, look up Venturas, because we're going to be talking about Venturas, and Tony's saving one. But the one thing I just want to mention going through everything is that, man, the world's going crazy right now. As you can see, airlines are cutting back. I've been talking to some of my airline friends, and the uncertainty is like crazy. Delta, Blanco Leary's video from yesterday was going, I think Delta just went 1/3 of their fleet. My inside guys at some other places I talked to said some airlines are going to be okay, some are on the iffy side, so everything's going good on that. But how's Ronnie? Ronnie's doing good. Funny enough, Ronnie, if you're watching, Ronnie got a head cold when he came back from the States, so he's good. But now the Prime Minister of Canada has told all Canadians don't travel. And if you are coming back from the U.S. To self-quarantine, so Ronnie's actually in quarantine right now. So who would have thought? Only a week ago, it was Ronnie was, the crew down there did an amazing job saving Ronnie. Now Ronnie's basically like just got back in time. Like imagine if this would have happened maybe if we're 2 weeks in the future when the hospitals are all jam-packed. So this is the weird thing. So this is like when everybody's self-quarantining and taking, making sure that the hospitals are within, operational limits. It's stuff like not just the virus, but like Uncle Ronnie and medical emergencies, especially have to do with hearts. It's very important to make sure that the hospitals are being able to work at normal capacity, which is going to be pretty crazy because everything's going good, or everything's going crazy, I should say. Nothing in the Northwest Territories yet official. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, I think we're one of the only places in North America right now.
Yeah, pretty much. They got one confirmed case now out in Newfoundland and Labrador. And I think they were one of the last holdouts as well.
So you can see Stella's got her mitts on, her mitts, and she's doing all this stuff because the one thing is we got to make sure Tony's good because Tony flies our Lockheed Electra. So we got to make sure that Tony is protected. So if anybody, we're going to have Stella arm guard you. No handshakes, no nothing. Anybody comes up for an autograph, she's going to punch him. So there we go. Okay. Oh yeah, Robert Livingston in Scotland. Hey Robert, can you buy toilet rolls in Canada?
Not that we know of.
Yeah, Stella's actually been, she's up to that. So hello to Stella's family in Germany. I know that they're having a little bit of a rough time right now. All the viewers in Italy right now, I know you guys are locked down. France, it is a weird time. But folks, this is a lot of stuff happens and all this stuff. And Tony, we're going to talk a little bit. He was in Angola with the Hercs, and actually not just any Hercs, the Hercs that we were talking about in the other episode. And you were bringing in relief for
the ICRC, the International Red Cross. Yeah. And it was we only had the one Herc up here at the time, HPW.
So HPW, and then Uzi.
Uzi came later.
Later,
but it never we never flew it over in Angola.
So I just give you a taste. So we've seen that picture from '82, and so here's some more stuff here. So this is like on the ice here. Look at this, folks. So hand bombing DC-3, isn't that an ice strip here?
Yep. Yeah, that's an early Northwest Territorial paint job too.
Oh wow, so that's amazing. So let's just go through this really quickly. If you're just joining us, Tony flies our Lockheed Electra, and but he started with the DC-3, which we've seen pictures of, and then of course the mighty Hercules. Also. Just going through here. Did you fly the Electra for them too?
No.
That's funny enough, eh?
Well, no, I only wanted to ever fly the Herc as it was.
That's funny because that's the same thing Dan says. Dan is a diehard Herc person. Oh, here N2, the 737-200.
Yep.
How many hours?
500.
500.
But I had to wait until they sold the Herc.
Yeah. So they got rid of the Herc. The Electras were way gone by that.
Yeah, and First Air sold the Hercs, so I ended up transitioning over onto the Boeing.
That's very cool. And then came over here.
Yeah, because they sold the Boeings, so I had to go somewhere.
So we got a whack load of old pictures here. One picture that jumped out I really want to show you guys is, do you recognize this guy right here? Look at that. Look at that vintage picture. Even the colors of the house.
Yeah, that's right, for back then.
For back then, everything was brown. What year would that have been?
Oh, that's probably in the 80s.
It's in the 80s. If you know, that's Arnie Schrader, folks. The late Arnie Schrader, who was a legend, of course. The last thing we did was the dam busting, which was very good back in the day.
So, in case your viewers don't know, Arnie and I took our initial Hercules course together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What year would that be?
83.
83.
Yeah.
Islanders won the cup. In fact, Brian Trottier won the cup in '83. Brian Trottier was here with, we did that Stanley Cup trip. Why does everything go to hockey to me? I don't know. I have no clue, folks. I can't control it. So we're going through all these pictures, and where do we start? Because again, we're going to get to the Ventura, which is the reason Tony's here, because Tony is actually reaching out to everybody watching, all 684 people. Here's Tony's email address. Tony, what actually are you looking for?
Well, we just want to get in contact with anybody that either has information, parts, stories, or relatives with their stories about their service on the Venturas, because they were around the world, these things.
So this is the very aircraft you guys saved.
Yep.
So actually, let's just jump into that right now, because this is very interesting. I think a lot of people, because this is plane saving. So this aircraft right here, where is it?
It was 50 miles northwest of Yellowknife in the bush. They put it in there on one engine in 1953. It was a photo survey. That's the area that it went down in.
So, man, see, that's it's like for the flat earthers, look how absolutely flat that is. That is crazy. So that's the thing. Like when airplanes go down up here, it's just like a needle in a haystack of needles full of haystacks.
Yeah, but the good thing about it was when Spartan Aerial Surveys was running it, they did a radio call every 15 minutes from their positions, and his he had just given his position call, and then called just shortly thereafter to tell he's going down. And they just wanted to confirm where he was going down, and he told them where he was going to put it in. And he was down. The rescue Norseman, was airborne from Yellowknife about 10 minutes before that. So it was already en route to where he crashed.
Is no one hurt?
Nope.
Oh,
well, yeah, there was. No one was killed. But the pilot got a gash in his head because he didn't have his shoulder straps on. And one of the operators in the back, he didn't know how to swim. So he thought it would be more prudent for him to jump out of the airplane just before it hit the ground, because it looked like they were going to ditch in a little lake.
So he jumped out of the airplane?
Well, no, he didn't jump. He was standing by the doorway getting ready to jump, and when they hit, a spare generator popped up off the floor and helped him out the door.
Oh,
so it broke a couple of his ribs.
But everyone was okay?
Everybody was okay, yeah.
So it's kind of like that Madagascar landing?
Yeah.
Sorry to make
no oxygen masks.
Sorry for making crashing a joke, but it's good that everyone lived. That's what we love about PlaneSavers, and is the ability to have the people okay, and then the aircraft almost be saved. Well, will be saved. What year did this incident happen?
1953.
So from 1953 to 1984.
88.
88. Sorry, 88.
Yeah,
Oilers.
It sat up there. Is it the Oilers in 88?
Yeah, Oilers was 88,
okay. Yeah. It sat up there pretty much undisturbed, just as you see it. And the local search and rescue outfit here in Yellowknife were using it as a training exercise. They would put a guy down there with a ELT on his lap, and then they'd fly the spotters over it a couple of times to see if they could spot it.
Very important question. Benoit, this a Ventura or a Lodestar?
No, this is a Ventura. They made Venturas from the Lodestar jigs.
So what's the difference? Because the Ventura is a little bit more rare.
They made just under 2,500 of them during the war, and they served in all the fronts, shall we say, except the Russian front, shall we say. But they were over in Alaska, and the Russians had expropriated some that had diverted in there as well. But all the Commonwealth countries flew them, and it's surprising. Not too many people know much about that airplane at all, and therefore it's kind of an odd duck, shall we say.
This picture right here, if you guys can't tell, that's the airplane being slung out of a helicopter, which is amazing. Is this the exact same time here? This picture
Yep.
And this one right here?
Yep.
Oh wow, that's a Sikorsky?
No, that's a Boeing Chinook.
A Chinook, of course.
447 squadron out of Edmonton.
Oh, the military came and helped.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were transiting south out of Alert on an exercise, and they agreed to lift it out. And a tactical air movements team came up from Calgary, and they rigged it, and then out came the Chinook and lifted it, and it was pretty easy. You'll see on the wings there's
oh, we got Benoit's comment here in the middle. Oh, so that's to stop it from flying.
Yeah. But when they lifted it, they had it rigged for about 20,000 pounds, which was all up, I think, on that Chinook at the time. And when they lifted it, weighed 12,400 pounds or something. And as they transited in the forward flight there, one of those mattresses came off. Then it only weighed 10,000 pounds, they said. So it's a good thing they had the mattresses on it, otherwise it would have been flying itself. And in the other picture, you might see the windsock.
Oh, the windsock? Is that this?
That's tied to the tail.
This one right here? Oh, yeah, there we go.
And that's the Yellowknife Airport windsock.
Not the one that's out here.
Oh, I don't know. It's probably worn out by now. That's back in '88.
Oh yeah. Actually, I was just there was funny that you say that because I was just filming outside because it was a huge windstorm here. It was nuts just a few seconds ago. Oh, here, let me get rid of this. So like it was blowing. There we go. Yeah. So there's the actual windsock. Probably not, but yeah, the wind it was just going crazy out there right now. So we got the airplane out.
Got it to Yellowknife.
Got to Yellowknife.
That's down in Hay River, that shot.
So that's in Hay River. So I think we have a shot of it in Yellowknife here.
On the barge, up on the top there.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4 right there.
Okay, so here we go. This is cool here.
It's a little small, but there.
Oh, wow. So
we avoided towing it down the highway to Hay River because at that time the highway was gravel. So that avoided a lot of damage to it. We just had it towed down the paved road to the docks down here, put it on the barge that went to Hay River, and over it went on NTCL.
And then so here's where it sat in the yard too. So this is an old picture you guys can see. It says Northwest Cargo.
Yeah.
So it's how long did it sit in Yellowknife for?
Only for about half a year.
Only half a year.
Yeah.
And then so it gets the Hay River. And I was joking, you can definitely tell this is Hay River because look at all the trucker hats. So this is the crew, and the one cowboy, he's Albertan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. So it's in Hay River, and then you guys need to get it to Edmonton.
Yeah.
So, bang.
Well, that's actually in Edmonton going to Red Deer.
Okay. Okay, so we're kind of jumping ahead a bit here.
Yeah, that was last year when we had to move it out of the hangar on Kingsway.
That was only last year.
Yep.
And so now it's at Buffalo in Red Deer.
That's right.
If I would have had more time. So if you look, any of the videos, I think the Bruce Dickinson video, you can actually see it in the background.
When you robbed one of those carburetors out of the ROD or something,
Yeah.
The stands and that you guys were using actually were ours.
Oh.
But that was okay. We didn't mind.
What's going on in this picture right here?
Just outside of Manning, Alberta. That's how we towed it down the highway. So we had to have illuminated D signs. We had to have a wide load sign. And we had to have a forward vehicle and a rear vehicle with two-way communication, which we did.
So, where's I just saw one right here. Look
at just like that.
So this, folks, this is redneck ingenuity right here. Look at that. That is a picture, right? That is awesome. So this is plane saving right here. So this is how to get stuff done. So what part was this? Where were you moving at this time?
That's at the Hay River Airport, and we're going to tow it down the highway. We're just starting out.
Oh, my lordy. So cool. So, and then getting in, well, that's super small picture. So.
That's at the air base at Edmonton. We towed it in there.
Okay. So we got some of the history. So if you just joined, Tony Jarvis is here. He is our electric captain, but he also goes back and he is the Lockheed master flying the Hercules. He's working on the Ventura here, and then DC-3 and 737-200. A whole bunch of crazy stuff here. So out of the bush. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Tony, what's the plan with this airplane? It's been since the 80s. What are you guys doing? Where is it? What's your hope for the future?
Well, the RCAF used them during wartime and post-war for patrols. But what a lot of people don't realize is that we had 286 of these in Canada, and that's the last one. That's the only one that exists now. But then there's all these servicemen from the RCAF that trained here, and people that came over from other Commonwealth countries that trained, that went back to England to fly on RAF squadrons, our AAF squadrons, and Royal New Zealand Air Force squadrons that flew Venturas on bombing missions over occupied Europe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got records of every single squadron that used these airplanes in every country. And if anybody's out there, they want information on it, they can contact us. If they have relatives that they want to know about, we might have information on them as well too.
So the plan going forward
is hopefully that we'll get it restored to airworthy. But seeing as it's a bit of an orphan child and not very well known at all, it's kind of like one man banging a drum here. Just, so,
how many people on the team right now?
Well, right now, because we've had to move, we're down to about 5. But at one time, we were up to 164, and then we started running into roadblocks. So,
oh wow,
the airplane's still out of the bush. It's about a year after we pulled it out of the bush, a forest fire went through that area. So we figured, well, that's a good sign. That might be a good omen.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This is very, very cool. I hear the boss coming. Yeah, he loves barges. Oh, he's going the other way, but the dog's coming this way.
Oh,
he's scouting. Okay, so that's very, very cool. Okay, so folks, getting on 865 people watching. Thank you guys. Benoit is always, he's got like all the manuals and everything. He is saying, I have blueprints, I have manuals and some blueprints from Vickers Canada repairs on RCF aircraft. So is there any paperwork or stuff that you're missing?
Well, we do have all the manuals. We've got what we think we have all the manuals. We've got all the blueprints from the U.S. National Archives. We've had them digitized so we can look up pretty much anything we want to. If we don't already have it, we can use the blueprint to manufacture it. And but I mean, we're always looking around to see if there's anything that we've missed or there's anything new out there that we weren't aware of before.
Did the U.S. Army Air Force ever use this type of aircraft?
Yep, they used them as training and tow tugs down in the States, and they were known as B-34s then.
B-34s.
Yep.
Interesting. So the Ventura, is that the civilian name or was it the B-34 Ventura as well?
Well, that's where people get confused, because sometimes they call it a B-34 Lexington in the USAF service, United States Army Air Corps service, and in the Navy they called it the Ventura, the PV-1 Ventura. Up here in Canada, we had GR5 or General Reconnaissance Mark 5 Venturas.
101 Voodoo saying, Tony, have you reached out to Ty Ramey, who owns PV1 and 3 PV2s?
Yeah, I know Ty. Him and I have corresponded in the past. He's actually got a Howard, not a PV1, which is a converted RCAF Ventura. Actually, we gave him the history on it. And he does have that PV2. I'm quite impressed on how they got that PV2 out of that strip. You can catch that video on YouTube.
So is that blue and silver Howard? That was at Oshkosh?
No, he hasn't got it airborne. It's been sitting down outside of his facility, I think, unless it's still in Chino.
Stephen saying, my wife's uncle was a flight engineer on the Ventura in the South Pacific during World War II.
What squadron was that with?
There we go. What squadron? So I remember you telling me a really cool story about when you got it and there was a lot of mud and dirt on the bottom floor. Tell us that. That's a really cool story, folks. This is what I like.
Whenever you go in to recover an airplane, you should not throw anything away. And as you can see, he skidded along on his belly, probably about 150, 200 feet or so. Took the bomb bay doors off, but the belly bomb bay fuel tanks were protected the main spar, so that was good. They just kind of folded around it. But when we lifted the airplane out and started cleaning it out, I had the guys drop all the moss or dirt that they were finding through a screen. And one of the things that came out of the moss was a set of RCAF pilot's wings. That it was for a cap badge, and I guess somebody had lost it over the years, probably in service with the RCAF, and there it was. So we preserved that as well too.
That is so cool. So yeah, you just never know. Of course, I do not want to throw anything away, but I think that's a little bit of my genetics. Ronnie, believe it or not, always kind of tries to throw stuff away, and it drives my father nuts. So, speaking, Uncle Toby, if you're watching, Dyer in High Prairie, hello. Cousin Gary in High Prairie. What's going on here? What's this? Oh, this is a super small picture. Is this the group right here?
That's the group that we used the tow south.
Oh, who are the people here?
Oh, yeah, you're asking me to remember names. It's terrible. I'm there. I'm the tall one with the glasses.
Glasses were quite popular.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember everybody's name.
Long time ago?
Long time ago.
So if you see yourself, please comment. Last time Dan Jones was on here, that people were popping up and coming, and Dan hasn't talked to him for a long time.
I did acquire parts for the Hudson.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Danny Price. Danny's in Halifax. He's the one that gives us all the tours of the Halifax Museum.
I probably met him.
There we go. Danny. He's always asking to come down or getting us come down for lobster. Uncle Ronnie's doing good. He's at home in Red Deer in quarantine right now, believe it or not, because that's just the world we live in right now. Dad, do you want to come in here and say hello to everybody?
Not really.
Not really. Look, I want to show you these pictures.
Bill Eldred been on there?
Oh, I haven't seen Bill yet.
Ask for him. Hey, Billy. Bill Eldred.
What do you think of this, Dad?
Say hi. Oh, I'm lifting the Venturi out of
Ventura.
Venturi. That's French. Hanging out with Pierre out there. Is that Heidi Pierre in the back room there?
Well, we got to get Pierre in here to say hello.
Yeah. I was wondering if Bill's on today.
Bill, are you in the comments here? We can see.
Don't call him Eldred. It's Eldred.
Eldred?
Drid. You gotta say that. Drid.
Drid?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Okay, no stories today then.
Do you recognize that truck on the right, Dad? You probably own that truck now.
No, I don't. It's not old enough.
What
on the right?
Yeah, no.
On the right. No, I don't.
So, do you recognize where this is right now? This is just one of Tony's random pictures here.
Looks like the Canadian helicopter hangar in Edmonton, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. So that's getting the parts and pieces in Red Deer, or in Edmonton. Some very cool stuff here. Like, I know, Dad, you love barges.
Going here in the barge, eh?
Do you remember that when they were doing that?
I remember when they were doing it because the day that we came in, I had that fellow riding on the DC-3 with me from NORAD. And he'd come up to Hay River in a Model T. And so I gave him a ride to Yellowknife. And when we landed here at the DC-3, that thing had just come on the ramp. And he's quite excited about it. And he was telling me how he got from NORAD to Hay River with a Model T with just a solar panel for a battery.
All right.
Yeah, Dan would have been scampering all over it then if they just put it down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's...
That's down in Edmonton.
Yeah, he's looking at that, yeah.
So look at this. I like this picture right here. Check this out.
Going down the highway,
Can't do that anymore, eh, Joe?
Well, Ronnie just did it with DC-3 this summer, with 24 wide, 17 on the wheels, 24 on the overall. Yeah, so we can still do it, but the ticketing now and the
Oh, look at this picture here. There's Arnie.
Yeah, the hair of that one, eh? Oh yeah.
I love these old pictures. So, and then some of that might be in the comments here, right here.
You remember him?
Oh yeah, Joe Redmond. Yeah, there he is. Sideburns. Jesus Christ.
And look at that chin. That is a pilot's chin if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, well, that's from sitting there eating the meals, eh? Yeah.
What is that? The 37? No, what is that?
No, that's electric.
Oh wow, is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big watch, Ray-Bans, 4 bars. God, that's top of the walking in tall cotton there, I'll tell you.
Joe and Duke Dodge just bumped into each other down in Hawaii on the beach.
Right, eh?
Yeah.
No, Bill's not here. I can't tell any stories today. No Sunday afternoon
Well, because
bedtime stories.
you got a story all set up, but we gotta wait for Bill to get on there if he's in.
Gary Locklean, yeah. Jerry Locklean, yeah. Last time I seen him, he was flying that Dorney out of Uranium City
Oh yeah.
for Hudson Bay Oil and Gas before I went airline, roaring around uranium. Geez, no, yeah. Before that, him and I were on course together. Yeah, we were in
Course?
Bible school together. God damn, yeah.
Good.
Hard time getting
Bible
them to
school,
pass.
goddamn.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting those guys to pass. They're all failing, eh? No, yeah, I remember Jerry quite well. Hi, Jerry.
Well, look at this. John Smith saying, Joe, you inspired me with your Neville shoot books. I bought 2 last week.
If you want 200 more, call me.
Walking in high cotton, love it. Yeah. Here we go. What I did see. Oh, any news on the DC4? So this is kind of the thing going on right now. Ronnie and Trent spent a month getting the DC4 ready. Of course, Ronnie had that health scare, which was actually not even a scare and a health problem. That the guys there helped him, saved his life. It's back, but what a difference a week makes, Dad. This time last week, we were celebrating, the first responders that saved Ronnie right here. I got everybody. Here's Ronnie. That was last week. That was a big thing last week. The whole world is kind of doing some wacky stuff here right now. So, Dad, DC4. So, really, the Prime Minister of Canada has got on there and told us that we really can't go to the States or anywhere.
Well, he didn't say we couldn't, but we shouldn't. So, yeah, we're going to pick up the DC4 this week and bring her home, but I guess we're a little late. We'll be delaying that till the world gets back on course here. No, I don't see Bill on there. God, that's really good. I don't have to tell any stories.
So, Bridget, this is William's mom.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to tell everybody what William was doing yesterday?
Yeah, William was burning up big holes in the sky with a Lockheed Electra training on it. I watched him go by with 4 big black vapor trails of about 5,000 pounds an hour.
Were you in there, Tony, on that one?
Yeah, Tony was the one of the instructors, yeah. Yeah, no, he was doing very good. He was training on an Electra, which is quite a good step for him, and I understand he's doing very good. I'll tell his mother that. I won't tell him that.
Tony, how's William doing?
Oh yeah, I wish we had more guys like him.
There you go. So here's the thing. The strangest thing in the world, Electra's not the most efficient airplane when it comes to fuel burn, but everybody's parking airplanes and stuff, and we're getting everybody ready. William, super lucky because there's a lot of FOs probably all around the world right now that are very in crazy situations. And we're knocking on wood right now, of course, but if you guys have been following, and probably even people in the chat here, like the Flybe crews and all that stuff, so we're just super happy that William's here and he's flying the Electra, or getting ready for the Electra, so it's super awesome.
You see this what happened behind me? This is Jerry Locklean here. When we were on course in Calgary at Chinook School of Aviation, we'd drive out to Airdrie to a coffee shop to study at night and that's all that was at Airdrie on the highway was an Esso coffee shop. Oh, it's actually a truck stop. So boy, when you drive by it now, I look at it and boy, has that ever been changed.
How much toilet paper can you get in a C-47?
How much toilet paper? Well, 6,000 pounds.
So you'd bulk out before you would... Because I remember we used to put chips in the DC-4, and I think it was like the whole, as much as we could fit in DC-4, I think it was about 8,000 pounds before.
The problem is getting back into the cockpit.
Oh, and not going too high.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they all split.
Yeah. And Arnie was very, very famous for having food go missing. That was his forte. So there's some cool things that let's just move over to a little bit. Look at this. Do you recognize that airplane? WZS.
Well, I'm looking at the domes on the roof, the astrodomes on the roof. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think you just overpainted that speed line green, and that's how you can tell it from a distance.
Is that true? When you got did you get WZS? You weren't leasing WZS at this time, were you?
No, we brought it up, and I'd leased it then every year, and I sold it to them. And 10 years later, I bought it back. You know, things go around, eh? So I ended up with it back, and then I repainted it green again.
So the one thing I noticed, these pictures here, Tony brought some Herc pictures. Can you guess who took that picture?
That was probably Henry Temby.
There you go. Henry Temby, famous, probably the most famous aviation photographer here in Canada. And there's just something about his pictures you can tell a mile away. And so anytime you see pictures of Canadian aircraft in this kind of setup, Henry Temby, very, very cool. So
what Henry really wanted is, he wouldn't give you a picture or take it at all. It was any good unless all writing on the airplane was visible. When he took a three-quarter front shot, he made sure that he could read everything that was written on the airplane was in the picture, else it shouldn't be on the airplane. Or it shouldn't be in the picture. So you see that one there, everything is visible.
So you got the NWTR, you got the registration, you got the logo.
Yeah. Also, if you look underneath the cockpit windows,
it's Harry Sorensen.
Captain Harry Sorensen is there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you can barely see it, folks. But yeah, so that's why I can tell a Henry Temby's, because the thing. Oh, so Dad, here's a story here's one that we see here out of the archives. What's going on here?
That's PBC up in Pelly Bay.
Oh, Pelly Bay Co-op, PVC, the old DC-4. Yeah. Boy, she took a shit kicking, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a DC-4. I was thinking DC-3, but yeah, of course.
Oh, no, that's a 4. Yeah.
Look at the hamburger doors on the big hamburger door.
That's PVC.
Oh, I was thinking that was a DC-3. That's a DC-4, eh? Sarah, thank you for the super chat. Sarah in New Jersey. Hopefully everything's going good in New Jersey. Yeah, some amazing pictures here. Look at this one here. On skis.
I think that's NWS again.
Yeah, NWS. Look at that, 1,010 viewers. So hello everybody. Look, we broke 1,000 viewers again, and just an amazing. This person right here.
That's Billy Lyle from Pelly Bay, or Spence Bay.
Ernie Lyle.
Ernie Lyle,
His dad.
Yeah, always.
An Arctic man.
Yeah, he wrote the book Arctic Man. Everybody should read it. It's a real good read. He's is he Scotch?
Yeah, well, and he was born on the Labrador coast, I believe. That's where his parents were.
So is that your book recommendation for the week?
Oh yeah, no, they should read Arctic Man. It gives you good oversight as to the background of the NWT and what it was like along the Arctic coast when you got one sea lift a year.
Here's a good question. Any idea how many DC-3s are still flying?
Well, didn't Basler tell us there's 115? Last summer, didn't he tell us that?
Probably around there. Yeah. Be close. Oh, Byron saying Ernie's my grandfather and namesake. There we go. So hey, Byron.
Yeah, we do have one N3N project in a bag, in a box, in a sea can.
So, hey Joe, do you have any N3N project also? So yes, you do.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike and Joe. Have you ever heard of a nose wheel DC-3?
Never.
It's Convair, isn't it?
Never a nose wheel in a 3. Eric.
That a DC-5.
Eric.
Oh, look at this.
Eric from Holland. Yeah, the young guy with the pressure cooker. Oh yeah, hi Eric. How you doing? Still talk about you. Yeah. Your wild sense of humor so dry.
So that's how you become good at buffaloes. You leave, and then you're automatically the best person ever.
Yeah.
But when you're here, better watch out.
Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. I love these pictures here like that. Take a look at that.
Oh yeah.
Like the old livery here, the NWTR livery.
Uh-huh.
Man, that looks sharp, eh? Man, that's so cool. All right. Also, here, Dad. Who's this?
That's our EP himself, Robert Engel. Yeah. The big Robert.
So he, what's a little story about him? Like, why should people, or how would people know him? What's his legacy here in the North?
Well, he was the founding president of Northwest Territorial Airways, NWTR, and he, he operated DC-3s 25 years, bent one set of props, one set of skis. He's operated them in a top third of the world where there's no airports or facilities. Airports are all homemade. Beacons were far and few between, and it's a legacy will never be passed now because it just won't be done now. There's, we got satellite weather and we got GPS, but he put 25 years right through the toughest, and he'd come out very well, very good. I'm very proud of him.
So, Tony, can you give a 30-second history of NWTR?
Not really. I think Joe's just actually summarized it quite well.
That's a good picture. So, I wonder what DC3 that is, eh? So, that's not NWS. Doesn't have the Astrodome, so it's not WZS.
Could be NTF.
NTF?
NTF was a good airplane.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were all really good once you got settled down on course and the heater was working good.
See, 1,000 viewers. See what happens when Buffalo Joe walks in the room? There we go, Dad.
They all went back to church.
No one went back to church. So there's probably some people in quarantine right now, which kind of sucks. So hopefully you're getting some entertainment out of all this stuff. What do we got here?
Also, happy birthday to Zane, Dwayne Zantop there.
Oh yeah, Dwayne's.
He hit the big 7.5 yesterday. It was really good. 75 to go and we're out of here.
Yes, we got the Herc down there, and then Tony. This one almost gave you flashbacks, eh? You said.
Yeah, that's Dewar Lakes, right in the middle of Baffin Island.
Dewar Lakes.
Wow.
Oh, it's a beautiful place, but you can only fly in there VFR. You're down in amongst those hills. So
glassy water.
Yeah, it's a nice river there. We tried catching fish in it, but we never did.
Oh, Bob Casey churches are closed today, Dad, so you're lucky.
yeah, they don't have no toilet paper. That's everybody's out buying it all.
Oh, Art's saying, how do I get into restoring planes with you guys? I like your, what's that, Nest 10 doing burnouts? Tony's email here about, I got down in the description too, looking for help with the Ventura as well. So some good stuff. Some guys saying not actually quarantined, just too lazy to leave the house. Yeah. I think that's a very common thing for a lot of people. But it's neat. So, Dad, this is a very uncertain time for airline people. You've lived through quite a bit of different scenarios. Tony, you as well. What do you guys see this happening different, the same, or is this kind of unprecedented what you guys see right now?
Well, go ahead there, Tony. What do you think?
Well, I think that we'll get through this just like we have all the other virus scares in the past. Just that it's a more in touch world with the media and live streaming and internet, et cetera, So the word gets out a lot quicker, and I think there's a lot of panic going on right now that really isn't necessary, but people will be people.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're laying off at certain airlines in the States. Some are cutting back on a lot of their flights, so that's affecting. It has a trickle down or a domino effect on everything.
So and then too, the restriction of flights too. Like there's not, even if you wanted to, a lot of airlines can't even fly.
Yeah, a lot of people have had to cancel vacations. They can't go see their in-laws.
So, lots of uncertainty for pilots with KLM. KLM is retiring the 747s early.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just heard Qatar is canceled all flights out, all the international flights. Yeah, it's going nuts. Dad, what's your thoughts on just a lot of people, a lot of uncertainty? What's your words of wisdom to for people that may be watching right now that their jobs are being affected?
Well, look at us, all three of us are heads together. We're supposed to be 6 feet apart, aren't we? But we're not. We'll be in a minute. Oh, no, the cycle goes round. I mean, the world goes round and round, and this is just, this is a little more severe, but it's going to really clean up the country because everybody's out cleaning. It'll slow everything down so everybody can get back and think. And it'll give a lot of people a chance to slow right down and look at their house, look at their family, stay home with the kids, stay home with the family. do stuff like that, and rather than chasing the corporate ladder or the social ladder. It's just a slow down time. It will be tough for a lot of people because of the industry will slow down. But one thing about it slowing down, it always comes back. It's like a bicycle wheel; it just goes round and round and round.
Yeah, most of the A380s I think are all done now. So Emirates just grounded their A380s, Lufthansa and Qantas too. So that is just blows my mind because the A380 is like the pinnacle of aircraft, and now it's not.
Maybe we can get one for hauling freight.
I was hoping. Imagine the door on an A380. Holy smokes! North Carolina first in flight. The Wright brothers. You know the Wright brothers didn't even have pilot's licenses. I'm surprised the FAA didn't come down on them.
Well, isn't Wilbur the one who signed Joe's license?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, after you got his, he signed me out. Yeah.
Pontius Pilot.
Yeah, Pontius Pilot.
Okay.
Hard
Okay.
ranking, yeah.
So a lot of cool stuff in here. Let me just see what else we can find here. These Hercs, like, this is just amazing amount of work that you guys did back then. Where is this, Tony?
Valdez, Alaska.
Oh, it's Alaska.
Yeah.
Valdez.
Valdez, eh?
During the oil spill.
For the Exxon Valdez?
Yep, I just got back from Angola and went straight over to Tuktoyaktuk, picked up the Beaufort oil spill cooperative equipment,
Wow.
and took it to Valdez. It took us about 5 trips, I think it was.
Isn't that amazing, folks? Look at that. I just grabbed a random picture from Tony's file, brought it over, and this is the Exxon Valdez. You remember that quite well, Dad? Were you down there washing ducks off and stuff? The Exxon Valdez?
Oh yeah, we're washing ducks with Dove.
But that's amazing. So, Tony, you're part of the help with the cleanup on that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff with that airplane.
Wow. What kind of stuff pops up in your head? Just some wacky stuff that you guys did.
Ooh, let's see. We hauled beluga whales out of Churchill to San Diego Zoo.
Beluga whales?
Yeah, the first trip was down to Mexico City, and we couldn't get overflight clearances over the U.S. because it's an endangered species.
Yeah.
So we had to go offshore. And we delivered them to Mexico City. And then the next trip, or the second beluga whale trip there, it was for the San Diego Zoo, and apparently it was okay to overfly the States. Yeah.
Man, beluga, beluga whales, that's crazy.
And
So,
we also repatriated zoo animals to Kuwait City.
repatriated zoo animals
Yep.
to Kuwait City.
Yeah, because we went over there after the first war.
Oh, yeah?
And we were flying into Baghdad, and one of the things that they assigned us to do was go down to the UAE, I think it was, and pick up all the zoo animals to repopulate, I guess, the zoo in Kuwait
Really?
City, because, I don't know, the zoo animals that were there all got shot.
Jesus. Oh, my lordy. 1964, I worked on DC-3 based AT RF going
Yep.
them. Hey, wow, dude, that was crazy. A lot of cool stuff going. Here, I'm gonna start installing bidet spray on this. So this is crazy stuff. So you mentioned Angola. Check this out. So this is the NWT Air Herc, and so it doesn't have the NWT Air on it. It's got a big cross on it. What's going on?
We do have NWT Air on it, but it's a Red Cross airplane. We had 13 Red Crosses on it. And when we arrived in Angola, first off, in 1988, they took a picture of it, both on the ground and in flight. And they published postcards written in Portuguese. And they gave these postcards to the rebels, and they gave them to the government. And what the postcard said was, "This is a Red Cross airplane, respect it."
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you got to admit, Red Cross up in the tail sure is nice to sight on if you just happen to be sitting on the ground with a gun.
Oh, jeez. So here's another cool shot of it. So this is kind of like a quick convert. Oh, yeah, look at that shot. So you said there's 13 crosses on it?
Yeah, yeah. on top of the wings, on the bottom of the wings, on the sides of the fuselage, on the tail.
Oh, if you guys are just watching here, what's going on in the nose? Is that how the front nose door?
Yep.
That's interesting. I've never seen that shot before.
See, the nose wheel retracts forward.
Ah. So, oh, cool. That's very cool. I've never seen that. Very, very cool. Okay, so what's going on here?
That's how they used to load us. And it would take them, I believe I had it timed at about 12 minutes
Wow.
to put 20 metric tons of cornmeal on the airplane.
Wow.
The airplane just shook while they were doing it. Did it all by hand. And they offloaded the same way.
Oh, how did you secure the top of it?
We had metal nets that went over the top.
And then what's this picture right here?
It's one of the places we flew into. Little story behind this place. It's south of Wombo, which is in the middle of Angola. We had to overfly that strip, and if a guy was down there waving a white flag, we could land. If he wasn't waving the white flag, we didn't land because that meant that the rebels had taken over the strip. So, but we got in there, and all the school kids were, or little kids, as you can see them there, they were just fascinated by the airplane and ourselves as well, too.
I can imagine.
And they used to come running up to us, and the old men in the village had great long sticks. They would be beating them back, kind of thing, and we didn't mind them around at all. You know?
Hello, Tony, from Tim Giles, Windsor Mosquito
Gillies.
Ball. Gillies?
Yep. How's it going, Tim?
Connor Zantop saying toilet paper is the new U.S. currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, one thing, Dad, do you recognize this handsome fellow right here?
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Gerard.
Gerard Lefebvre.
Yeah, Gerard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 I recognize it very well. Worked a lot with him.
Do you remember his favorite airplane?
DC-6B.
Yep, DC-6. Yeah, Gerard, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Hello, Gerard. I know Tony's saying it was very hard to get a picture of Gerard, eh?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was a great fan of the 6B, and I used to come in here years ago at an Aztec. He'd tell me that there's a lot more maintenance on Aztec than a DC-3, so trade up.
So, Gerard Lefebvre here, he was actually from France, eh?
Yep.
So
He was actually in the French Navy.
So he was the first person I ever met that wasn't Quebec French. He was like the first thing, and he hated it when anybody thought he wasn't anything but from France, which was a hilarious, really, really fun guy. But he would always, my memory of Gerard growing up, because remember I was a little kid at one point. Gerard was working on the DC-4s, and he would always say that these are not DC-6s. You should get DC-6s and blah blah blah. Which is kind of strange because most people love the DC-4s, believe it or not. So, going back, there's a really cool picture, Tony. What's going on here?
Well, that's the president of Botswana's HS-125 that had been fired upon by an Angolan MiG-21 on a diplomatic visit to Luanda. So he was en route to Luanda. He just got off. Apparently, I found the story out later on. He apparently just got off the radio talking to Luanda Control, which is the capital of Angola. And they took a missile up the number 2 tailpipe. The Cuban pilot that was flying the MiG apparently had fired 2 missiles, and they figure the second one went after the engine when it dropped away. So they were lucky in that. Something like 35,000 feet, they immediately depressurized. The captain of the airplane got knocked out because of the sudden yawing of the airplane. And the first officer was, I think, a contract pilot from Hawker Siddeley, landed the airplane in Quito, which was farther inland from Wombo than, and we were in there about a month later, and we actually saw this airplane. This was a picture taken by, I don't know, maybe Hawker Siddeley, just to show how strong the airplanes are.
Holy! You guys look at the flap on the right hand side, all the shrapnel, and
but if you go on the internet, you can find a full story of the guy that
is that like
actually landed it.
The engine accessories hanging out of the
Probably.
bottom? Oh my lordy, that is crazy. So the neat little picture here too. So you weren't there alone. The Russians were there too.
Oh yeah. The Russians were there. The Cubans were there. The Angolan War started in 1975, and it was more like a proxy war. So it was the communists against the democratic people, eh? And when the Portuguese left in 1975, these two opposing forces started warring with each other, and they warred for the next 28 years, I think it was.
Did you ever converse with the Russian crews and stuff?
Yeah, they came over to have a look at the Herc. I think it might have even been this this particular airplane. Captain come over, and they always had an interpretation officer who could speak English on the radio, because of course it's supposed to be English. And he come over, and I let the captain sit in the Herc seat. And the captain, I remember him, he had a bear hunting suit on, and he was looking around. And he says, "Oh, you can see lots." And I said, "Yeah." Tell him, "Yeah." And he said something else, and the interpretation officer said, he says, "But how do you see behind you?" And I said, "Tell him that we don't need to."
Jeez. Oh, my lordy.
Right now, that airplane's got a T-76 tank in it.
Oh, there's in that aircraft.
And that airplane is taken out. That's at Wombo in the middle of Angola.
I've seen a couple of questions. Did you ever take flak or any shots while you were there?
Not that we know of.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, my lord. Dad, there was that story that I don't have a picture, but remember when we were in Arizona, the African Queen, the DC-6?
Oh yeah.
That DC-6, they shot the engine right off that thing, eh?
Yeah, that airplane was out of Dawson Creek. That was a Canadian airplane.
But that didn't happen in Dawson Creek.
No, it happened over. No.
Dawson Creek's not that bad yet. Here's another one. Look at this.
That's a boneyard at Luanda in Angola.
So we got a Herc. Geez, a couple Hercs. Man, that is very cool. It almost looks like Air Canada jets.
That's a VC-10 of TAG. Yeah.
What's these two swept ones there in the top?
707. I think they're 320s.
Wow.
Again, tags 737 there.
Jeez Louise. That is 737 here on the far left.
Yeah, I think so.
Very, very, very cool. So that's one heck of a place to be, eh? So is this like at the end of or on the side of one of the runways?
Yeah, that's that place I was telling you about at Quito. That's what it looks like. Pretty much mud huts sitting on the Planalta. You're up about 5,000 feet.
So this is at 5,000 feet?
Yep. That's the way Angola was built. It was just above sea level and gently slope up until you got to about 10 miles inland from the Atlantic Ocean, and then it would pop up to about 5,000 feet. They called it the Planalta, and they told me that they had 3 growing seasons there a year.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a very beautiful place.
So African Queen was a DC-7. I thought it was a DC-6, but there we go. Oh, we got some bots in the thing. So if the mods want to take care of those bots,
Illusion 62, yeah, Angola, yeah.
720. Okay, so yeah, we got all the Angola, which is very, very cool. And then one cool picture I've seen here. Look at this, the Electra livery NWT head. I'll cover my face here. So that's very cool. So that's NWY. Where's NWY now, Dad? Do you know?
Isn't it a tanker at Airspray?
Yep, it's a tanker at Airspray now.
No, fighting fire. It's yellow. I see it there when we're red here every day.
Yep.
Fall, in the spring and fall, it's there, right? When we're there.
So you've seen the pictures of loading in Africa. Like the loading here is a little bit better. What the heck is that, Tony?
Oh, I can't remember what that was. A big piece of equipment, probably weighs about 35,000 pounds.
Man, that Herc, eh? Just so nice to be able to just drive that crazy stuff in. Look at this old picture here too. Where's it here? Bang! Look at that.
IJV.
Yeah,
IJV.
International Jet Air, 3 other airplanes there.
Yeah.
Wow. What's this little one here? Is
Old
that
Doc Allard, eh?
it's an old jet or something?
Yeah, it looks like...
IJV, eh? Where's IJV right now, Dad?
Red Deer.
She's in Red Deer?
I brought it back from England.
Okay, so this reminds me, we got to find that one picture of, where is it here? It is an old school picture. Remember the picture of Yellowknife that we seen? Here, it's probably going to take me too long to find it. So hopefully everybody's going good. Bots are back. Mod, that's why you got to go in and kill those bots. What's going on? Okay. What do we have here? Geez, I think we kind of seen almost everything now here. So Tony, again, if a lot of people just joining, we got 1,165 people, and Tony, he's rescuing Lockheed Ventura. Ventura. Man, I can never do that properly.
Oh, is it?
Ventura, like in Ventura, California.
T Brown, super chat. Thank you, T Brown. So if you guys just joined, so Tony's on the hunt for parts, information, anything to do with the Ventura. And man, there's a lot of pictures here too. Man, look at that.
Yeah, that's the day before we recovered it.
So, do you know what happened? We got a feathered engine there.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what happened because I talked to the pilot who put it there at a Spartan Aerial Survey reunion in 2000.
What happened with engine failure?
They were operating out of Norman Wells. They were doing a line at 20,000 feet, and the left engine, as you can see, quit. What had happened was, I guess it sucked a valve and blew one of the cylinder heads off.
Oh.
So he feathered it, and he was coming into lower altitudes, and he couldn't get the carb heat off the other engine, so he couldn't get full power out of it.
Double whammy.
Yeah.
Jed747, super chat. Mikey 727 is threatened with scrap April 1st at BFI Airport. Need people to email airport, put airport in email header, allow a whole bunch of stuff there, Jed. So Jed, go over to the Facebook group, put in what you want, the PlaneSavers Facebook group. I'm sure we'll get a lot of people to help you with that 727. Unfortunately, my Prime Minister won't let me leave the US or leave Canada right now. Grant Wall, here's a good question for you, Dad. Any other plans to convert other Electras to air tankers?
Just seeing who's all on here. You want to know if I'm going to convert anymore?
Yep.
Oh, well, if the demand is there, we got a couple more we can convert. We got the tanks, we got the airplanes. We just see what the supply and demand is for out on the world there. But we'll certainly do some more if we get some time. Just stop the clock for a while. We'll do another one right away.
Without the nose cone, it is a Venturi. That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we got Aussie Mod, who it's about 8 a.m. in Australia right now, so he's up early Monday morning getting rid of those bots. Did you know KLM is the only airline who flew all Douglas aircraft from the DC-2 to the MD-11? I did not know that. That is really cool.
That's an interesting analogy, yeah.
I did not know. Yeah, so I think, anything else you want to add, Tony, or anything like that?
No, I'm here to answer any questions. And
so if there's any questions you have for Tony, folks, this is it. Joe's standing here. This is the longest we've kept his attention. So hurry, get some questions in. Tony, what's the difference flying the Electra to the Herc?
Well, I think Dan told you before, if the Herc was a big brother, then the Electra is the beautiful sister. So it's a lot quicker on the Electra, but it doesn't take as much. It's also easier to load the Herc than it is the Electra. Other than that, if you're paid by the mile, I'd rather fly the Electra.
The Alurk, that's it. Electra and Herc have a baby. It's called the Alurk. I like that. Okay. Oh, speaking of this, you guys seen the last episode? We got the Allison prop engine. Tony, you know a little bit about this model kit.
Yeah, that's an old Renoir mold from the 1950s. That's when they first started producing it, and I think now with Atlantis coming out, that's about the 5th printing or shots of that model. Don't quote me on it. I can't remember exactly, but it actually is shot from a mold that was manufactured in the 1950s, and it's survived all the way through. It's actually a really good kit. I took one of these and modified it into a D22A because that's what's on a Herc. And now I've got one of these.
So this is D13, so this is the same as the Electra.
Yep.
And then you modified it to a Herc. We won't get too far into that because I'll probably ask you that for an upcoming video because I did put in on the radio video if we should get Chucky talk about this Allison engine, because the cool thing about this is this right here. It's a prop jet engine, which is really weird. So it's not really your normal turbine.
Well, it's a turboprop. They just called them prop jets back then.
So we'll figure that out. And there's a picture of Chucky on there. There we go. Look at that. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool little kit. I might try to build it because it is kind of weird. But like all the parts you can kind of see already pre-painted and everything, which helps out quite a bit. So anyway, we'll try that out. David Jones is asking, how many total hours do you have, Tony?
Total? On all the airplanes? Over 20,000.
20,000, right on. And Dad, we don't know how much you have, eh?
No,
you haven't submitted a mileage check in years.
I haven't. I'll blow my duty day if I say.
You've been flying for free all these years.
Yeah. Maybe I'll pull my fatigue card.
New member, welcome, Patrick O'Donnell. Thank you. Love your thing there. Very look like Sherlock Holmes there. Okay. We got a super chat from Michael Mazzetti. There we go. Thank you guys. Have you ever been to Germany? Yes, I've been to Germany. Tony?
Yep.
Did you fly the Herc into Germany at all?
Yeah, I was on contract with Safair. I flew it out of East Midlands there over 1996.
That reminds me of the one picture I forgot. The one that you said that you searched all over for. Where is it now? Where is that picture? It was the Safair. Oh, right here. Bang.
Yeah, Safair, French registration.
So why is this a rare picture?
Because that airplane, I think, if I remember rightly, was NWF, which would have been the first Super Herc here that NWT Air was running, or Northwest Territorial at the time. And of course, as Electras were, they moved through various owners. SF Air, I knew that they had an airplane and never did find a picture of it until about a month ago. I found that picture. And that ends up being USI, which we flew for First Air. Previous to that, I had flown it on that contract out of East Midlands with Safair as RSI, ZSRSI, the registration on it. And that's how we took delivery of it, First Air, down to Calgary. It had been down to Antarctica twice. Had a pair of penguins painted on the side of it. That's how we knew that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very cool. That's a good idea. The L100, the civilian Herc, was in Dublin a few times.
Yep.
Where did you do any of those flights?
Yeah, we were working for Shriners out of Schiphol and doing a cargo run because they had an Airbus 300 in on check or something that couldn't do the work. So.
Are you going to get the Ventura to fly or static?
Well, I'd prefer to have it flying. Airplanes are meant to fly.
There you go, folks. No truer words have been spoken. But a lot of times, sometimes, they can't. And so static does have its part. But if you can get it flying, it's always better. Just like that Stuka. So they're getting the Stuka flying, which is going to be cool. The only one in the world, which is going to be amazing. Hopefully you can put that Jericho whistle on it. There's a KLM cargo container behind that Sapphire bird. Uncle Ronnie, a lot of questions about Uncle Ronnie. Dad, do you want to give a quick update on Uncle Ronnie?
Well, you go ahead. You've been talking to them. He's just having a little rest right now. He'll be,
So Uncle Ronnie's doing good. He's actually in quarantine right now. Uncle Ronnie, hello, Uncle Ronnie. Hello, Uncle Toby, Cousin Gary, everybody. Because he came in from the States and he had a head cold. So we're going to keep him away and for a bit, but I'm sure he's fine. He survived the craziness, so Ronnie's going to be good. I love the channel. You guys are great. I hope things are going well with Buffalo. Buffalo's doing pretty good right now. but it is some uncertain times. James, how's it going? James, no questions for me. Just enjoying the history lessons. Cheers and thanks. James, you've been kicking butt every single live stream, so thank you for being around. 1,159 people. Hit that like button if you like it. Here's a good question. Alexander, what stage is the Ventura restoration now?
It's in static stage there. It's all in pieces, and it's down in the buffalo yard there. About 90% of it's in sea cans, and the other wings and test stands and that kind of stuff, and the fuselage are outside.
Where did you guys get the hoodies? Well, this is all at buffaloairwear.com. So, folks, it's links in the description. Buffaloairwear.com for all the Buffalo stuff. Yeah, it helps support the Electra and everything. As airlines, as Buffalo's getting slower, the best way if you want to help is to get merchandise and watch the show. So you guys are helping. Yeah. So a lot of airlines having problems right now. We can always just become full YouTube. Hey, Dad, what do you think about that? We just fly for YouTube.
Fly for YouTube.
Get a GoPro and do some trips.
Steak. Eat wieners the rest of our life.
David Jones, thank you. This is a brilliant episode. Here's a good question. So, Tony said you've flown beluga whales.
Yep.
You've flown relief for Angola, the Exxon Valdez, pretty much everything. Dad, what's the craziest thing you've flown in DC-3? I know people asked this before, but what do you think? I think you're so calm. Every day is kind of normal to you. But is there any load that really stand out? Might not be the craziest load, but is there anything that stood out to you?
Not really. All loads are. I have to think about that. It's a loaded question. I've had a lot of interest in loads, and a lot of interesting trips, and a lot of interesting people, and interesting crews on board with us. But I really can't tell you what it probably was. They were asking how many rolls of toilet paper you can get in a DC-3. Well, those 60-pound bags of insulation and pink insulation? You can get 100 bags in a DC-3. They're 60 pounds a bag, so that's 6,000 pounds, which is your gross, pretty well your gross weight. So that's an interesting load, because if you put them in right, just put them around and around and around and around, you get 100 in. And if you look at 100 bales on the ground beside the airplane, you could bet a lot of money to a lot of people you wouldn't get on board the airplane, but you get it in.
That's kind of funny, because that is a loaded question. But the one thing that stands out to you, I guess, is always like when there's new babies and stuff, like people's first flights. And then I noticed with the DC-3, there's multi-generational. So like on the DC-3, you would haul, a new mom, and then that kid would have a kid, and you'd be hauling that, right? So multi-generational first flights.
Oh yeah, we've had a lot of people that second generation came on board the airplane. We took a lot of different people flew over from Hay River to Yellowknife to have a baby, and we flew the baby back. And years later, that baby's having a baby, and we're repeating the system in the same airplane. Eh?
Great question. Is it easy to load a DC-3 wrong?
I'm just trying to figure out how you would load it wrong, because you're doing the loading.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So the captain is normally loading the airplane.
Yeah.
So if you load it wrong, it's kind of. I guess the thing is it goes by experience.
Yep.
So by the time you become a captain of a DC-3, you've loaded airplanes so much. But there is problems with load shifting, which would be loading the DC-3 wrong. It's not so much where the load is, but maybe not properly strapped and chained down. Dad, you used to use chains all the time, maybe before the straps, so like come-alongs and stuff?
Yeah, before NWTR brought the hooks into Yellowknife, we didn't know what a hook strap was.
See?
So we were using chains and boomers to tie our loads down with, so we're just like truckers. And all of a sudden we got these hook straps, and of course, we're running. Everybody's running around the airport, one stuck in their jacket trying to steal it and get it on board the airplane. Finally, it took a year or two before they came on the market where we could buy them. So it was like when your teenagers run around with a hula hoop so you can siphon gas. Well, now we're running around with big jackets on so we can still Herc straps, tie our loads down.
Did the NDPT Hercs ever partake in major NATO exercises?
No,
like
no
before?
major, no military exercises at all because we wanted to remain civilian, and that puts you in a better market. But we did help one year with the airlift to alert on boxed up out of Dulia, and that was nice.
So, Dad, have you ever loaded a plane wrong? I guess the way is always not enough freight.
Well, if I known I was going to live this long and fly as many miles, I'd load a little heavier and push the weather a little further, but made it anyway.
Don't take that as gospel, young pilots, but that is something. Like I always look at Arnie's amazing legacy and all the stuff he did, and
There are old pilots and bold pilots, but there's no old bold pilots.
That's right, yeah. Yeah.
Connor Zantow, how long does it take to load the Electra?
Depends on what the load is. Longest load on the Electra I've had so far is a steel load. It took us 10 hours to load it. And the shortest is a grocery load. It took us about 20 minutes.
So Connor's grandfather had 25 Electras at one time.
Yeah.
Quite crazy. This big major question: how's the coronavirus affecting aviation in Canada? Nothing too crazy yet. Cargo's still got to move. Again, man, we're in a very unique position because cargo, there's no roads. So anywhere there's roads, trucks are going to move the freight. But the communities, mines, and customers that we supply, flying is the only way. So we got to make sure that we're as safe and ready as possible, because if you can't fly into these communities, you can't get stuff in.
See, somebody wants to know where the original DC-3 of Buffalo's is. Well, the original one was RTM. It was serial number 13333, and it's in Oshkosh right now, being converted to a turbine DC-3. And your Uncle Ronnie was down there last summer, and they gave him the instrument panel out of it for a souvenir. So he's got the instrument panel back in Red Deer now. And we built an instrument panel for that airplane in 1978. So it still looks the same, so I'm kind of glad he got it.
Here's a very important question. Are you going to Oshkosh? There might not be an Oshkosh, folks. That is how crazy it is. They canceled South by Southwest in Dallas, Texas, and that is an amazingly large billion-dollar show, or hundreds of millions. I think Coachella is the billion-dollar one. But these are big things that make Oshkosh look small that are being canceled. So I'm looking very, very, very closely to make sure. I really want to go to Oshkosh, but this year might not happen. Okay. Hello from Tassie. Chopper. I was gonna say Chopper Kyle. Chopper Reed. He lived in Tassie towards the end, I think.
Been there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
With the Herc?
Yep.
Geez, everywhere. I guess we just got to get a map and say, where haven't you been?
I've been to 21% of the world's countries.
Geez. 21%. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And all but 2 continents. Australia and Antarctica.
There we go. Sorry if anyone asked, but have you cursed you guys to buy any more Electras?
Are there any more to buy?
Oh, there's the 4. We've learned.
Oh.
There's the 4. MHD Rockland's got the 4 Xantop ones.
What about that one down in Panama City?
I've heard rumors about the Panama one.
Mm-hmm.
So, there will be an Oshkosh, mark my words.
Sun and Fun is postponed?
Yeah, Sun and Fun's postponed to May.
Yeah, I was wondering about, they should have already had that. You know?
So, yeah, it's going to be crazy. Elvis King, hit the like button, folks. 563 likes, 1,166 people watching live. Folks, this is the biggest, best episode we've ever had. You're meaning JKM? Yes, it was recovered. We're going to be hearing more about JKM, but I don't want to say too much because it's going to be a surprise. So, yeah, a lot of these questions I'm going to get more into. Yeah, Sun and Fun's being moved 4 weeks. Okay, so I think that's it.
4 weeks, eh? That's not too bad, eh?
Well, we'll see. But, yeah, I think we got everything. Tony, anything else? Anybody have any parts, pieces, stories, want to know more about the Lockheed Ventura? Check it out. Emails here and down there. Does this stand for something here?
Ventura Memorial Flight Association.
Ventura Memorial Flight Association at tellusplanet.net. Check it out. Email Tony. Tony's going to be busy flying the Electra all next week. Hopefully, are you leaving or are you staying this week?
Friday I leave, but I'm going to be busy.
All week. We're going to be flying Electra all week. Joe's busy making sure the cats are all good, and I'm busy making sure you guys are entertained. So thank you so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you very soon. See you guys.